When Zoe is forced to make a fresh start, she faces her worst nightmare. A run-down home.
That's not good.
The place was filthy. There were some real problems.
A terrifying secret.
Roz, I know where the portal is.
And unwanted guests.
All of a sudden, I was hanging over the stairwell. And I just thought that I'm gonna die. This is it.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see
Someone's in my room.
and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality.
This has been the most harrowing experience of my life. I never thought moving into a different place would change my life so drastically.
There's a haunting interview camera AB marker.
It's still very vivid. Anytime I think about it, I can see the spirits. I was living in terror. It was just pure terror for days. I can never go back to being the person I was.
In the winter of 2016, Zoe Day, a divorced mother of two, reluctantly moves into a new home. She's by herself. Her daughter attends college while her son stays with his father.
Home sweet home.
In 2016, my daughter was just starting college, and my son was still a junior in high school.
It is what it is.
My ex-husband and I shared custody of the kids, so they were back and forth. The kids and I had lived in Calabasas for almost 10 years, but my landlord needed to sell, so we had to look for another place. Unfortunately, at the same time, there were low inventory of rentals available. The Thousand Oaks townhome was definitely a step down from the Calabasas townhome. The house was just not as ideal.
Thankfully, Zoe's parents have come to her rescue.
Well, I've got gloves, I've got bleach, I've got sponges, I've got it all.
My parents came down and they not only helped me move everything from here to there.
If you guys need me, I'll be upstairs cleaning.
Okay.
We had to clean everything. It was a lot of work involved, getting it ready to move in, livable.
Ew. Look at this. It is full of all this.
Being at my daughter's house, I didn't love being there. It didn't feel great, but we didn't want to put any negativity out about it. We wanted everything to be as happy and as homey and as positive as possible, and so that's how we tried to be.
Hun! That's not good.
Oh my God.
There were some real problems that had to be addressed by the landlord, but it was like, what could you do? We were pretty much stuck and didn't have alternatives, so it was a case of, we will make it work.
The rest of the house is just as run down.
At the top of the stairs, there was a closet door. It didn't open easily. You had to really pull on it to get it to open and really shut it to get it to close. I just knew I had to tough it out and make the best of it.
Great. One more thing to fix.
Hon, can you pass me the hammer, please?
Yep.
Beyond all odds, Zoe and her parents transformed the shabby townhouse into a livable space.
We knew it would probably be helping her over a period of a couple of days. The three of us pretty much did all the work and made it happen.
This place looks great. Thank you so much for your help.
Oh, you're welcome, honey.
The place, we cleaned it up really nice and made it, made it really cute and homey.
Hey, look what I found. Oh, isn't that great?
I really hope the kids will like it here.
We had a lifestyle that we were all very comfortable, and that was difficult to change.
They'll have to.
The kids, they weren't happy about having to move. They liked it where they were. They had friends where they were. They weren't looking forward to this.
I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah, let's get some food and rest up at the hotel. Tomorrow we'll get the rest of the stuff upstairs, fix anything else we can fix. Then we're heading back home.
Sounds like a plan.
But little do they know, Zoe's presence has triggered an awakening.
Slow.
In February of 2016, Zoe Day moves into a townhouse in Thousand Oaks, California, with the help of her parents.
Okay.
All right.
Got it?
Corner, yep.
Coming.
Okay. All right. Whoop. Okay.
The place was in kind of a rundown condition.
This house had so many issues. It was just one thing after another. And I just chalked it up to poor maintenance.
Almost there.
I didn't want to move. It wasn't my choice. It's just what had to happen. And so we made the best of it.
After 3 days of helping out their daughter, Laura and Robert head home.
I'll text you when we get to Big Bear, okay?
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Even though it wasn't wonderful to be there, it was still, Zoe had made it home.
But unbeknownst to Zoe and her parents, Zoe is not alone.
There were times when I'd walk up the stairs and the closet door would just be open, and I would look around thinking it couldn't have opened by itself because it was so stuck. I had that feeling, very unsettling feeling about being there. I didn't know why. I just felt really bad energy, and I wanted to get out.
Zoe decides to get some fresh air.
I started feeling really uneasy and like something was following me. And I kept looking over my shoulder, but there was nobody there. It was just me, but I just get a sense that there was something there. I just couldn't get home fast enough. I was afraid I was going to get jumped or something. I felt very vulnerable.
Ever since Zoe Day moved into a new neighborhood in Thousand Oaks, California, she's felt uneasy.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
I was being watched and followed, and I just wanted to get back to the house and close the door. I just panicked, and I felt, I'm not safe here. I'm not safe here.
Hello?
Mom, I'm not living here. It's not safe.
What are you talking about?
I can't live here. You've got to move me back to Calabasas. Hello?
We get the phone call from Zoe and she was very upset, saying, I can't stay here. This isn't safe. We have to move back. You could have threw a bucket of ice water in my face at that point. It was just like, what? What? And she was hysterical.
Zoe? That is your home now. There is no going back. You just need to accept it.
At that point, I was thinking that she was very much missing her old life. It was just heartbreaking. And I said, honey, we're not moving you back. So that's all there is to it. You sleep on it and we'll talk about it in the morning.
She didn't believe that there was anything wrong. She just thought that I was stressed out or that I was overreacting. But I knew that it wasn't that.
Everything's gonna be okay. Good night, honey.
had to be at work. And so I steeled myself inside, kind of went through the motions. I just heard this heavy, angry stomping. It was so loud. It was like a 500-pound man was just stomping. The closet door was open again.
And this is just the beginning. One night, Zoe falls asleep in the living room.
It was a very slight girl with blonde hair, and just looking at me. She was very, very pale. All of a sudden, I was hanging over the stairwell. And I just thought that I'm gonna die. This is it.
Zoe Day is being levitated by a ghost inside her home.
I'm wondering, what do you want from me? Like, why are you doing this to me? I'm hanging there above the stairs. I could see the bottom, and I'm looking down going, she drops me, my neck is gonna crack. I broke down. I was terrified, and I felt powerless. I felt completely at the mercy of things I didn't understand. It's still very vivid.
Scared for her life, Zoe drives straight to her parents' home in Big Bear, California.
Zoe proceeded to tell me what had happened. She went through the whole experience, and she thought she was going to die. She was just hysterical. It took her a long time to calm down. I was just horrified, really. I mean, like, what is going on? It was a scary time.
Who's that? I called Roz.
Roz Reynolds is a family friend who happens to be a professional psychic.
There was no doubt in believing her. I know there are haunted houses. I've known people who have been in them, and my best advice, like right off the top of my head, is call for help.
My name is Rosalind Reynolds, and I am clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. I am very strong with balancing, healing, and clearing energy in spaces with people.
What is all this?
These are my tools that I use when I'm working.
It's okay. You can trust her.
Roz, she's been a friend of my mom's for a long time. She was the person we knew that deals with this day in and day out.
Roz begins her session with an attempt to contact the spirit Zoe encountered in her home.
I was able to see the spirit, to connect with the spirit, and I realized immediately that she was an incredibly strong spirit. It's very rare for a spirit to be able to levitate.
She could have killed you if she really wanted to.
What do you mean?
The spirit you encountered, she's powerful. But she's just a mean-spirited prankster, and that's all.
Before I even told her everything, Roz was able to describe what the girl looked like.
If the spirit had any true intention to do her harm, she would have. There was no true intent to harm. There was just the desire to be a troublemaker, create energy that she could, live on.
Why is she here? What does she want from me?
You brought her to you.
What?
You emit a light from within you. It's like a magnet that attracts lost souls.
Zoe is extremely psychic, but never felt it.
She said, you shine a light that they're attracted to, and they're coming for you.
But why now? After all this time, why?
I call it an awakening.
Zoe was at a very powerful turning point in her life. And when we reach a point where we are no longer willing to just accept the way things are going, that sort of sets it up. I describe that as boom, the wake-up call. It hits you.
What does this mean?
It means you're going to be seeing a lot more spirits.
Next, Roz attempts to figure out where the ghost came from.
I'm using the skills of remote viewing, using maps, where I am looking at just the general structure of the area. I'm putting my hand over the map, feeling energy.
Suddenly, she has a vision of a long-forgotten graveyard not far from Zoe's home.
These were not the well-marked graveyards of families, and etc. These were graveyards of people who meant nothing to anyone. No one cared, and they just eventually became swallowed up by civilization.
Roz warns Zoe and her mother the negative energy from the nearby graveyard has opened a portal inside her home.
Well, when you say open portal, do
Do you mean spirits are just coming in and out?
Yes, they come and go as they please.
The creation of portal energy is kind of like a perfect storm situation. It's a combination of the energy, the frequencies of the land, the place, the people involved.
Although Zoe is reluctant to return to the townhouse, Roz gives her tools to protect herself and assures Zoe that she has the power to fight back.
I told her point blank, you have to take your power with this because, yeah, you're going to be victimized if you don't. They don't have any power unless you give it to them.
I was still terrified, but knowing that she had me protected was somewhat of a relief. She told me to lay crystals and pennies around the corners of the room. It created some kind of a field, electromagnetic field, that they didn't like to cross. At that time, I'd really hoped this was the end of seeing anything. I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to feel safe in my own space. I wanted to not feel threatened in my home.
One night, Zoe touches base with her daughter who's attending a local college.
Oh, I was just calling to check in on you, wondering how you've been. I feel like I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I've been super busy with classes. Just had a bunch of exams all in a row. Maybe next week I can stop by your place for dinner.
I tried to protect my children from this. I didn't want them to be feeling what I was feeling. I didn't want to worry them. I didn't want to put that burden on them. I would have to just deal with that best I could and leave them out of it.
Mom?
You know what? I think it's best that we go out to eat. You're probably sick of cafeteria food anyway. Look, why don't I text you next week about dinner, okay?
Okay, Mom. Love you.
Love you too.
There was a guy, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, I kind of, jerked my head back and gasped. And then when I did that, he realized I could see him.
What do you want?
Zoe Day's California townhouse has become a hotbed of paranormal activity. Despite the protective measures she's put in place, spirits continue to emerge from a portal in her home.
What do you want?
They were angrily stomping. I could hear them on the walls behind. I mean, just making a ton of noise. It was all terrifying.
Desperate to move out, Zoe contacts her landlord.
At that point, I hadn't slept for about 3 days. I felt unsafe. I felt like there's nothing I can do to protect myself.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Thank you for coming. Come on in.
Sure. What seems to be the issue?
Actually, I was hoping you'd let me out of the lease.
Let you out of the lease? Why? You just moved in.
It's personal.
I wish I could help, but you signed a year contract.
Please, I can't live here. It's not safe for me.
I'm sorry you're having troubles, but my hands are tied.
No.
When the landlord wouldn't let me out of the lease, it was upsetting. I couldn't take it anymore. And it just became clear that I couldn't be alone. I just wanted to leave.
She was, at this point, so traumatized. So traumatized. There wasn't going to be anywhere she could stay by herself.
Zoe tries to understand why she wasn't able to ward off the spirits. According to Ra, Zoe has the power within her to fight back.
Listen to me, you don't need to be afraid. What you need to do is you need to learn how to stand in your own power. You have the control, you can do this.
The spirits like to be in charge. They're very much about intimidation and harassment to try and get control of the mind and heart and spirit. Their energy is very dependent on the energy of the person experiencing the paranormal events. They want to feed on that. I had to help her get to the realization that she has the power to control this. You have to stand up and you have to take charge of this. And you have to realize that this is your life.
Standing in your power is setting the boundaries for what you will and won't allow. But when you're scared, that lets them come in.
Hello?
Zoe Day is being terrorized by spirits invading her home.
I opened the closet and it was just a black hole. And there were spirits down there. And they were trying to pull me down.
Zoe wonders if this nightmare is a message. She immediately reaches out to psychic medium Roz Reynolds.
Roz? I know where the portal is. Will you help me close it?
And I explained my dream to Roz. She was very excited. She goes, "That's the portal. That's the portal." That's how they're getting in your house. So that way you can now block that portal. We have to sear that portal closed.
I feel like where Zoe was at the time, it was an important shift in her perspective of her power and taking control of that. She was ready to get that thing shut, to stop that energy flow there.
Zoe asks her parents and Roz to join forces to close the portal.
I needed my family next to me.
Let's begin. First, I am going to encircle all of you in a white light. It is crucial during this time that each of you focus your energy on closing the portal.
I place myself in the center of that energy field in Zoe's home. I then draw a line of white light, and I ask my angels and guides to come in and reinforce the energy that I have established there. I extend it up into the universe and down to the core of the earth.
Yes, that's good. Keep your minds clear. Continue to imagine the white light. Stand next to it and it will protect you. And remember, they don't have any power unless you give it to them.
She coached us through the whole process, and it involved, channeling energy and white light.
We had done all the salt and done the crystals and done the copper, and Roz felt we were pretty secure.
Roz then senses paranormal activity coming from upstairs.
There was definitely resistance to closing that energy field that was allowing, these activities to go on.
I meditated and concentrated on it and put forth my prayerful and creative intentions to get the portal closed. And as I was doing this, I felt that it was working, that it was going to stop.
I realized how much power that had to come from a place of strength and not fear, and be able to say, I don't consent, you're not allowed here.
Leave! Now! Return to where you came from!
I can see the spirits receding as that opening closes and begins to narrow down.
Now!
And the door shuts. It did feel very different the minute that process was completed. And that's how I know it has been a successful closing. Any and all vestige of their energy or any of their negative intent has been neutralized and removed.
It's done. The portal is closed.
Although the house is cleansed of spirits, the experience has proven exhausting. Zoe moves in temporarily with her parents. As for her psychic gift, she is learning to live with it.
I want Zoe to do whatever she feels like is right for her to do with her abilities. If she did nothing more, I would be fine with that. And, you know, as long as she's happy. I just want her to be happy.
I think she's continuing to evolve since this all started. She's a totally different person now, where she was very weak and vulnerable before. She knows what she needs to do, and she's, you know, taking control of her own life again. So that's a big change.
I definitely feel more empowered. Now I've gained a peace with it and a comfort. So it's still a journey, it's still a process. But I'm open to see where this goes. As Roz said, this can either be a curse or a gift. It really depends on you.
In this world, there is real evil. In the darkest shadows and in the most ordinary places. These are the true stories of the innocent and the unimaginable. For the Beckwith family, a new home means new beginnings. Until something from the past returns to haunt them. The family calls in a team of renowned psychic investigators to make contact with restless spirits and fight the wrath of an unholy demon. Between the world we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. The rural countryside of Connecticut harbors a remarkable number of haunted houses. Here, where the Naugatuck River empties into the Housatonic, Native Americans have lived for thousands of years. In 1642, Europeans began settling here as well. Today, in the historic towns of Seymour and Derby, the legions of dead beneath the land far outnumber the living, and local hauntings have become legendary. In the late summer of 1998, the Beckwith family visits the Naugatuck Valley, hunting for a home. Sean, a heating and air conditioning repairman, and Bonnie, a registered nurse, want more living space for their two teenage daughters and young son. They find themselves drawn to a repossessed house, abandoned for more than a year, that lists for such a low price it seems too good to be true. Most of the family is enthusiastic, except Bonnie's oldest daughter, who has a premonition.
My daughter said, "I don't want to go there. There's something wrong with that house." I laughed and told her, "Come on now, it's a house. You haven't even seen it yet."
Come on, it's gonna be fun, come on.
If we had known then what we know now about this house, we wouldn't have thought twice about turning around.
The real estate agent, Linda DeFord, opens the door. The family explores the hulking 19th century house.
All right, just don't touch anything.
Dad, this is huge! I always wanted them. Look at the trim. Wow.
Jeremy, come on down. Quickly.
The family holds a meeting to decide whether to take the house.
We asked all the kids, what do you think? Is this the one? We love it. What do you think? My oldest daughter was the only one to say no.
I don't like it, Dad.
She said it's evil. I don't want to live there. I don't want to be here.
Bonnie feels confident that in time her older daughter will accept the new house. They decide to take it and move in. The younger children are excited about having their own bedrooms. 9-year-old Jeremy and 15-year-old Jennifer.
I put my bed right against the window. I thought it would be nice to be able to lay in bed and look out the window and have a nice view. I was very happy in that room. It was small and it was very me. It wasn't located right above my parents. I was a teenager and I wanted to kind of be isolated by myself.
Mom, I heard noises.
It's a big, drafty house.
What kind of
It was understandable that he would be frightened, of course. So we really didn't think anything of it.
Bonnie tries to calm his fears and gently takes him back to his bedroom.
I'll tell you what. You know that flashlight that we got you? Can you get that for me?
Sure.
Do you know
I
what's
had
happening?
given him one of those toy flashlights with the 3-color lenses. And I told him, well, you say your prayers, and if you think the monster's in your room, you put the green lens on, and that makes him go away. It's a magic flashlight.
Point the green light.
And of course, he bought into it.
All right. You see anything there?
No.
I don't either.
Jeremy seems reassured, and Bonnie goes back to bed. Then, later that night,
This went on every night, the same time, around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, he would wake up screaming.
Where you going?
I have to meet a teacher. I'll eat a granola bar.
Wait, I made bacon and eggs. You asked for it.
Last night, when I ran into your room and I told you the door.
the next morning, Jeremy tells his mother the disturbances got worse.
So did you try the flashlight?
It kept happening and it was really scary.
She is unsure how to comfort him. As weeks go by, Jennifer too begins to feel twinges of fear.
At first, I would kind of ignore it and kind of shake off the feeling that something was looking at me, something was just staring at me. It's almost like somebody's watching your every move. He would say, you know, somebody's grabbing the blankets and pulling them off of my bed. Somebody's calling my name and I can't get it to stop. And he would shake and he would be very scared. I would just say, you know, go back to bed. You're having a nightmare. You're dreaming. There's nothing here. You don't have to be scared. There's nothing that's going to hurt you.
I'm going to sleep with Mom and Dad.
They're gonna be mad at you.
Later that night.
I'm feeling a fist come through my mattress. And it's not humanly possible.
When the Beckwiths move into a haunted house, two of the children find themselves under attack.
I knew what I felt, and I was very certain of what I felt and how it felt. I also knew that there was no explaining what was happening. I knew it wasn't a nightmare. I knew that what I was feeling definitely felt like a human fist. How am I going to tell my mother this? She's not going to believe me. How am I going to make it sound reasonable? Should I just keep it to myself? And these are the things that were going through my mind, because you really don't know what you should do about a situation when you have no control.
Jennifer decides not to wake her mother. Instead, she moves her bed, hoping that somehow that will protect her. Two nights later.
I was gonna ask you about that.
I was in bed, just talking to two friends of mine.
I was gonna ask you about that.
My bed started to shake, so I just immediately froze. And I was so scared because there was you can't explain that.
The next morning, Jennifer looks for her mother to tell her what's been happening.
Hi. Can we talk about something?
I was hysterical, I was crying, I was very scared. We had to come up with something because it was just getting out of hand.
Of course, I was in disbelief, and I thought she was kidding. What do you mean your bed picked up and shook? And she was very solemn and terrified and serious.
Bonnie takes Jennifer's story to heart and calls an emergency family meeting.
Didn't think that you would believe us.
Now we're comparing notes, and now we're finding out, oh my God, well, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. Well, you're a normal person, something strange happens, you try to rationalize it the best you can. It was just way too much to be coincidence.
Though it's very scary when you have no idea what you're dealing with, you just know there's something wrong.
We were terrified. I mean, it's not every day things like this happen. You just don't expect it. You never think it's going to happen to you.
It's gonna be okay.
Bonnie tells the family she's going to call Ed and Lorraine Warren, a renowned psychic research team, famous for helping resolve the Amityville horror.
Exactly what we're gonna do, but we're gonna get
Bonnie feels sure they can help.
I was definitely very skeptical about, the Ghostbusters coming to the house and how are they going to really come in and get rid of it. I didn't know how this stuff worked and what they would actually do when they got here.
The Warrens visit the house that very night. The two investigators have worked in tandem for more than 30 years and are the authors of 9 books on the paranormal. Ed is known worldwide as a religious demonologist, a profiler of occult-related hauntings. Lorraine's psychic ability to detect the presence of spirits has been tested and documented at the University of California at Los Angeles.
When I walked in the door, I picked up that something just wasn't right. And it was just an uncomfortable, chilling type experience.
She said, "Oh my, I feel something heavy. It's very heavy. This place is infested." There is such an ominous presence in this house. It just feels like somebody is staring you down, very close to your face, like inches away from your face, with pure hate and malice that just wants you dead. And that is the most eerie, frightening feeling that you could ever experience, and you can't run away from that. No matter where you go in this house or on the property, it's there.
Lorraine investigates the rest of the house. In Jennifer's room, she senses a powerful negative presence.
I knew that that was one bad room. I felt a lot of anger, and I felt a lot of violence.
Lorraine reports that the house harbors a dangerous, non-human entity. The family wonders if they should move out until the Warrens can fix the problem.
According to the Warrens, even if we got in our car and left, it could follow us.
You have to deal with it here.
You're helpless. You can't fight it. It's absolutely terrifying.
The Warrens offer their aid and tell the family that their only real option is to stay and fight.
If you just run away from it or try to ignore the fact that it exists, it's going to get worse. You have to take a stand and do everything in your power to fight it and get rid of it.
The Warrens tell them that they must first gather more evidence on exactly what they're facing.
We told them to keep cameras by their bed. If they would feel something, to try to shoot a photograph.
As the Warrens prepare to leave, the family feels both comfort and concern.
Is it really going to work? Can they really make this stuff stop? Or is our new house our new hell?
Bonnie's mother arrives to share the family's first Thanksgiving in their new home. She's aware of the recent disturbances.
She was a very humorous lady, and she would joke around about things and try to make fun almost of the serious situation, just to lighten the mood, just to make us laugh.
Late that night, when the family goes to sleep, the grandmother finds herself alone.
On March 3rd, 1992, Park Police Department filed a missing persons report. Miss hadn't heard from his daughter in nearly 15 hours.
After witnessing 3 ghosts in her daughter's home, the terrified grandmother leaves early the next morning.
I just can't stay another day in this house.
She was shaking. She came right out and she told us everything that happened in detail, who she saw, what they looked like.
Jennifer takes photos of the room in which her grandmother saw the ghosts.
The rest of the house was probably about 70, 75. And that room felt like maybe 35 degrees.
As promised, the psychic researchers Ed and Lorraine Warren return after Thanksgiving to try to resolve the family's haunting. They're accompanied by 2 researchers who will attempt to record paranormal phenomena on video and audio equipment.
My mom was visiting.
A medium named Lee is there in the event that she might be able to communicate with any spirits residing in the house. Bonnie and her husband have arranged for their 8-year-old son to stay with relatives.
The TV kept turning off, so she would keep clicking it.
There was a door. I didn't pay any attention.
She must have felt something over her shoulder.
The family tells the researchers about their grandmother's frightening encounter with ghosts.
Empty room. My mom left. She couldn't stand it anymore.
Opened. It wasn't just, an old house creak.
Well, my mother.
Psychic researcher Lorraine Warren.
You can be downright scared right out of your mind in these homes by things that can manifest in front of you.
Lorraine examines the family's photos for clues about the spirits that inhabit the house. One photo in particular catches her attention.
She said, "Oh my, we have a big problem." I said, "That picture? It looks like a glitch in the film." She said, "Oh no, dear, this is a demon, and it's a high-level demon." Now I'm even more scared. I mean, now what do we do?
Suddenly, Lee begins to tremble uncontrollably.
She just began to write. You could tell she had no control over her body.
A spirit begins to communicate through Lee's writing.
Automatic writing in a home like this is very dangerous because it's an open door. It's like welcoming somebody into your home that you really don't want there, but you're being nice and opening the doors and letting the person in that could kill you.
At that moment, we were in shock, but at the same time, we all wanted to see what was on that paper.
It said, "Get out, you don't belong, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out." Now, we're even more afraid because now we know, okay, it's been confirmed. They don't like us and they don't want us here.
Lee and the Warrens leave for the night. Researcher Mike Roberge and his associate remain behind to gather more data.
The only way to know what's really going on in the house is to experience it.
Yeah.
They set up their equipment in Jennifer's room, where the most violent haunting activity has occurred.
Normally, you want to have at least 2 investigators on site at any point in time. So if something does actually attack the investigators themselves, you can work together to overcome whatever it is the situation is.
Too nervous to sleep, the family gathers in the kitchen.
We're staying.
They feel trapped.
People can help. They can help
The Warrens have convinced them to stay, but something wants them out. Suddenly, a frigid presence envelops Bonnie.
I lost my breath, like it drained the energy from me.
Jennifer, too, feels the chilling presence.
Your hair on your arms would stand up. You would feel the chill down your back. You could feel it move from one side of your body to the next. Somebody had walked through the wall into my mother and then through me and out the other side.
It's okay. It went through me too.
We just looked at each other like, my God, what just happened to us?
When people actually really encounter something supernatural, it hits you in a place that nothing else can. It hits you in your soul, and it can be a very scary thing.
In Jennifer's room, Mike Roberge and his associate begin recording unnatural noises.
It sounded like bird wings fluttering. We're in a closed room. There's no birds inside the room. We started hearing rapping in the walls. It sounded like somebody was knocking on a door with their fingers. The only difference was it wasn't knocking on the door, it was knocking on the wall, it was knocking on the ceiling, it was knocking on the floor, it was knocking everywhere.
The researchers attempt to communicate with spirits in the room.
Are you here against your will?
1 knock for yes and 2 knocks for no.
Are there any others?
They discover several human entities and one demonic presence.
You should let them go.
The demonic spirit can and usually does attack people in every aspect possible. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and they try to break down that person. It hits you emotionally in so many different ways, and that's all in the effort to try to get you to not want to be here.
According to the researchers, the demon, or inhuman spirit, is controlling the 3 human spirits in the house.
Is there something here that's controlling you?
If we could get rid of the inhuman spirit that was in the house, it would pretty much release the 3 other human spirits that were in the house that didn't want to be there in the first place.
A few nights later, the full research team returns. The family tells them about the spirit that passed through Bonnie and her daughter.
So we're getting more scared. We know our house is infested by spirits. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they want. And there's nothing we can do. Just wait and pray to God that nobody gets hurt until hopefully the Warrens could do something to make them stop.
She just started shivering.
We started asking this possessing spirit what it wanted there, using Lee as a channel.
Ed Warren was asking her questions. First she wrote George, Robert, and Anna. And he continued to ask her questions and repeat himself, "Who are you?" And she put George Robertson down. And he said, "What year is it?" She wrote 1, 8, and a partial 8. And all of a sudden she stopped writing.
Why are you questioning me? Who are you?
Get out of here! You don't belong here! We were absolutely terrified.
Shut up and leave me alone!
In a haunted house, a medium begins to channel an angry spirit.
She started to write, and she got 3 names, Anna, Robert, and George Robertson, a full name, and a partial date, 1, 8, and just the start of another number.
Why are you questioning me?
And all of a sudden, she starts screaming. "Why are you asking me all these questions? Shut up and leave me alone and get out of here. You don't belong here." And then she shoves the table into Ed Warren, pinning him against the back door.
Shut up and leave me alone!
He pushes it back and she continuously jamming it into Ed. And she was very violent. And it took a few of the guys to pull her back so she wouldn't hurt him. And we were all just staring in disbelief and worried about Ed. and worried about her because she has no control about what's going on. It was unbelievable.
That night, the frightened family sleeps together. The Warrens have told them that the only way to end the haunting is to face it as a family.
You feel a feeling of eyes boring through you, like someone is staring you down about 2 inches away from your face, with such hate and malice, pure evil and hate, I mean pure evil and hate, that they want you dead.
The next day, Bonnie and her daughter Jennifer go to the local town hall to research the names produced by Lee's automatic writing.
Who are these people? Why would it come out on paper? And what can we do about it? And that's when we decided to do the research and find out who these people were.
Bonnie and Jennifer begin looking through property records from the 1800s, hoping to learn more about the history of their house.
I was looking at the books and I just said, oh my God, Jennifer, come here, you're not gonna believe it. And there it was in black and white. George Robertson owned my house in 1888.
When we saw that he owned this house, it was an exciting moment because we knew that what happened with Lee free writing wasn't fake. It wasn't a show that was put on.
And Sonia? That's not too far from here.
It's in the books. He did own our house.
You up for a drive?
No one came in inquiring about this information. It's real. It's very real.
They drive apprehensively to a graveyard, 10 minutes from their house.
We walked down into the cemetery, and the first gravestone we walked up to, we looked down, it was his. We couldn't believe it. What are the odds? You just walk into a cemetery, look down, and there he is.
George Robertson.
Looking down and seeing his headstone was just shocking. This man was real.
This is it.
Bonnie is unable to learn much more about George Robertson or about the other human spirits haunting the house. A flood in 1955 destroyed many city records of that period.
Possibly he just loved this house. It may have been his first home. And maybe that's why his spirit doesn't want to leave. I don't know. That's what's frustrating about it. You don't know. There's so many unanswered questions.
This is what you gave Mom, isn't it? These things?
After the visit to the graveyard, the family has a few days of peace. The children wrap Christmas gifts.
When you're done, please. Oh, yeah, no problem. What was that? Get out of here. Come on, Jennifer. Get out of here. Come on.
The teenagers came bolting down the back staircase, terrified. At the same exact time, my son came bolting down the front staircase, screaming. They were white as sheets, and they were all shaking.
Bonnie immediately calls the Warrens, who ask a priest to come out and bless the house.
You'll need to open the windows.
The family desperately hopes that the blessing will bring an enduring peace.
We were all excited that this was going to be the end of a very long road that we all went through.
Psychic researcher Lorraine Warren hopes for the best, but is unsure if this will be enough.
Is it going to be lasting? Is it really going to rid the house? Or is it just for now? Is this going to be of comfort to them? Or is there a chance? Is there just a chance that maybe this will do it?
Before he was finished, I asked Lorraine, I said, how do you know if this is going to work or not? And she just looked at me and said, "Oh, you'll know, you'll feel it."
To everyone in the family, the oppressive atmosphere seems to lift.
My hopes were so high because we just had this blessing and we all wanted to know that this was it.
A day or two later, Bonnie is overcome by a compulsion to draw.
I started getting these images in my head, and I'd come home, I had to get them on paper. I wouldn't even say hello to my family. I would just come in the back door and start drawing. The only thing that I had in my head was this tree. And I just drew the tree, drew the tree, drew the tree. Nothing else, just the tree.
Day after day, Bonnie's compulsion intensifies.
More and more flashes of images, more rapidly coming into my head. I'm obsessed with it. All of a sudden it hit me. Anna was in my head.
Anna's haunting spirit was among those revealed through Lee's automatic writing. Bonnie senses that Anna once lost a loved one and suffered through deep mourning.
The whole time I was drawing the picture of Anna, I was crying my eyes out. I just felt like I was mourning. I just felt so much pain of missing someone that I loved dearly. And I just cried through the whole thing. I felt the eyes on me again, and I knew it wasn't over.
Jeremy, stop shining that in my face. Stop.
Jeremy, stop it. Turn that thing off or I'm gonna take it away from you.
We were so terrified. We were all sleeping pretty much in the same room. And not sleeping maybe an hour, if that, and having to go to work and function as a normal human being.
I gave you a chance.
It was pretty much impossible, and trying to stay calm for the kids and rational.
Go to sleep. Everybody go to sleep.
Lorraine believes the blessing wounded the negative spirits and left them even more enraged.
That usually comes back full strength when it comes back because it's angry. The spirits are very angry at that point.
When spirits physically attack the family, Bonnie has had enough. She urgently calls psychic researcher Lorraine Warren.
Hey, Lorraine.
And she was frightened. She was terrified. She says things are terrible in this house. And so we knew that something more had to be done.
She said that she'd already put in a call to a priest to do an exorcism, but they have to go through a ritual and fast for a very long time before they can perform it.
Guys, I guess 3 or 4 more days.
The priest agrees to do the exorcism right after Christmas. In the meantime, Bonnie considers moving her family to a motel.
Leaving the house is not the answer, because what's here is going to follow you. You have to deal with it. You must deal with it.
So there is no escaping. She told us the only way out of this is to hold our ground firmly and fight back. So we decided to do that. This is our home, And I'm not the type of person to give up my home to a dead person.
The Beckwiths stay close together while awaiting the exorcism. Bonnie again finds herself pulled away from the family by an obsessive urge to draw.
I can't think of anything else. The images are there, they gotta come out. I had hate, I had fear, and I'm just drawing all over the paper, all of these symbols, and I have no idea what they mean. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but it's there and it has to come out.
Have you been up all night?
Yeah. I just have to get it on paper.
There's a crooked pyramid with light emitting from the top of it. On one side you have heavenly rays coming down. On the other side there's a raging storm going on. There's a broken, bleeding heart in it, and there's 3 spirits. They look like they're floating and reaching up towards the pyramid.
Hello?
Bonnie receives a call from Lorraine Warren. She tells her about her drawing of the 3 spirits.
I asked her if I should be concerned about it, and she explained to me that they were channeling through me and to stop immediately.
Bonnie's mother gathers her courage to visit for Christmas.
Sweethearts. I've been so worried about you.
I'm so glad you're here.
How are you? Are you
How
okay?
was your drive?
My drive was fine, but
Find out here in a second.
Almost immediately,
Take it out now.
she's attacked by a mysterious fever.
104.
The family takes her to the hospital. Doctors find a bizarre, irregular heartbeat and decide to keep her overnight. While the older daughter runs Christmas errands, Jennifer and Bonnie try to comfort their loved one.
Sure. I'll pray with you.
amen. Forever and ever, the glory and the power.
We were going to say her prayers with her, as we always did. And she said them backwards.
Okay, you're fine. You're okay. You're just tired.
Not backwards. I can't do it.
And that's when we were really scared. I mean, she said her prayers every night. There was no way she was going to forget her prayers. We were all just very shocked.
I'm gonna go call a priest.
At the same time, the older daughter's Christmas errands are about to take a turn for the worse. Bonnie's mother has been admitted to the hospital with a sudden illness that doctors can't explain. Then, while her older daughter is out doing errands, the car is totaled. she escapes with only minor injuries.
It was just too much. First my mother, now my daughter, you know, life-threatening. And I was just shaking all over.
Bonnie calls for a priest to check in on her mother.
As soon as the priest asked her if she wanted communion, she felt somebody punch her in the stomach. And as soon as the wafer hit her tongue, it stopped, and she felt fine.
Three days later, the exorcist arrives at the haunted house to try to cast out its demonic inhabitant.
He was very quiet, and it seemed like he was almost disturbed by what was going on in the house. I almost felt like he knew, as soon as he walked through the door, what he was dealing with.
Exorcisms can only be performed on people, not places. The priest must attempt a dangerous strategy, using a medium as bait. Since Lee was able to channel spirits in the house on earlier visits, he hopes her presence will lure the demon. Researcher Mike Roberge.
We knew that having this spirit possess Lee would give us the advantage that we're looking for.
The team restrains Lee. It is the only way to protect everyone from the demon's wrath.
During the exorcist is the main target of the possessed person. So the restraints are there to protect not only the person who's the victim, because it's not really them that's doing this, it's the possessing spirit, but also it's there to protect the exorcist.
The priest begins with a blessing of the house, which angers and provokes the demon.
She was fighting the priest. He was saying these prayers, and it was trying to stop him.
She was screaming at the tops of her lungs, stop praying, it's not going to do you any good. And it was almost like it hurt her. You could tell she was in pain when he was doing the exorcism.
After a long battle of wills, the demon seems to surrender.
The priest made a move towards her and put a blessed cross up to her forehead. She got very quiet, very, very quiet. She got this evil grin on her face.
And at that moment, we heard splintering of wood.
She broke the legs right off the chair. That's no human spirit that would have the strength to do that.
The exorcism continues for almost an hour.
And then she seemed to go limp. And you could feel it instantaneously. And the feeling of the eyes bearing down on you was gone. You weren't being watched anymore.
The heaviness of the negative energy just left. We were safe for the first time in this house.
And it was such a weight lifted off of our shoulders. We could live like normal people again, and I just pray to God it stays this way.
Bonnie's prayer seems to be answered, and peace fills her house. But several years later, across the road, developers begin excavating a field. They unearth what seems to be an ancient Native American burial ground. Once again, the family begins to experience unusual phenomena in their home, but nothing that compares to what they had gone through before.
We're still trying to figure it out. We probably never will find out the right answers. Was it an Indian burial? We'll never know.
Today, the Beckwiths have learned how to deal with their ghostly co-inhabitants.
I came into this house pretty much an atheist, and now I've seen the powers of God, I've seen the powers of the devil right before my very eyes. And it's made me a stronger person.